Hi, welcome back. I'm Teresa Bruno, the host of the Soul Talks podcast, and I'm excited to have Sheri Ryland with us again today. I look forward to Sheri coaching us and therapizing us every Monday. We've had some really big topics on the docket lately, and we've got another one today. Sheri's going to talk to us today about trust and boundaries, and I cannot wait to hear where this is going to go. Hi, Sheri. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I'm glad to be here and talk about this because boundaries is a big thing we talk about. People come into my office and never have been in therapy, but they know that they need to work on boundaries because they heard it on Instagram or TikTok. So boundaries are, and we've talked about this before, but I know, like you said earlier, we can't talk about it enough because it really shapes how we interact as like in new relationships and businesses in life, and further along into our relationships, whether we stay or whether we go. Um, so the idea of boundaries and why I say about trust and boundaries, I have a lot of clients that will say to me, I just can't trust anybody anymore. Um, I don't trust people to keep me safe. And what I say to that is that we have to trust ourselves first.
That
Because
is such
people,
I don't want to run past that. That's such an interesting point. And, the word safe is such a hot, overused probably word today in a way. And yet I love it that we are in a culture saying, and I don't mean to, sideline the guys. I'm sure that there are a lot of places they don't feel safe. But as a woman, it's a new place to be able to say, I don't feel safe here. I don't feel safe in this work environment. I don't feel safe in this relationship. And when you combine that with, we have to be able to trust ourselves to understand the boundaries we need to hold,
absolutely.
that becomes a pretty incredible dynamic. Talk to me about
Absolutely.
that. I didn't mean to stop your roll.
That's okay. So when you go with boundaries, the boundaries are for me to set for myself. I'm not going to sit down and say these to you, these are my boundaries. I'm going to say that I know that I have a rule for myself that I don't want to allow certain behaviors in my relationship or in my life. So if I trust myself to say, I'm not going to continue with somebody who continues to break my boundaries, or I'm going to give maybe a chance or two to know that I'm not going to accept that behavior. But if I keep staying when that behavior happens, then I'm showing that person that I'm okay with them breaking my boundaries that I set for myself. So if I trust myself, then I know when I can walk away and I have to follow through. I can trust myself to know that I feel that if I'm not safe, that I know how to walk away. I know how to find help. I know how to have the things with me to be prepared. Safety comes in all different forms. If you're looking at Maslow's hierarchy of need, it's not the bottom one. We need to be fed first, right? And then safety is there. If I don't feel safe, I can't get anywhere else in feeling better about myself and making better decisions. If I don't feel safe or trust myself, I can't go further in my quest to do better for myself or feel better.
As you're talking, I was, of course, always inwardly thinking about myself, my life. You're giving me great therapy. You know what has shifted in my life in terms of setting boundaries and trusting myself? Because, for most of my adult life, my primary relationship was with my husband. And so, most of my time was spent there. Yes, I had friends, but I didn't need friendship support in the way that I need friends now. And I've really had to, in good ways and sometimes in difficult ways, learn to set boundaries with friends in ways that, because I didn't spend so much time with friends before, I didn't have to set the same kinds of boundaries. I didn't, it's just different being single. And it's been a powerful learning, and it's been empowering to me. I've had to do some hard things and say, your boundaries don't align with my life. I
Absolutely.
probably wouldn't have done that, 5 years ago. But I know that if I don't set those boundaries, I'm going to have things happening in my life and friendships that make me unhappy and uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I completely agree, right? And in my own personal life, I've learned that the reason why I couldn't set boundaries and keep through them is because I didn't trust myself to follow through. I thought I trusted them more. I said, your value is worth more than mine because I don't want you to think badly about me.
That's
I
the
don't
whole
want you to
pleaser
think,
thing, right?
yes,
We'd rather
exactly. If I'm
please and have our boundaries broken.
right, you're gonna leave me if I say I don't like that. That's the fear because I'm not good enough or whatever things we're saying to ourselves at that point. I don't trust myself in saying that I can find a way. Because we find a way to get through the most difficult things in the world. Um, Especially like look at you what you've gone through. You didn't have a choice. You found a way. But prior to, if you had known that, would you have said, I can never do that? I would never be able to handle that?
Oh, I 100% would have said, oh my gosh, please God, don't let that happen to me. I couldn't do it.
Right. You couldn't. We think it because we haven't lived it. And so once you live it, you realize I have very little choice. I either lay down and not do it, not do anything, or I get up and move. Those are your choices.
Yeah. And that's something I think a lot about in terms of, and I spoke about it recently about, we get to these crossroads in life, and everybody has something going on with them that, it's just painful. It's loss across the board, whether it's loss in a relationship, a divorce, it's loss of a job, it's loss of a person, it's loss of identity. There are
Yes.
so many places that I just think across the board, everybody's feeling some sort of loss. And I don't know if this ties to trust and boundaries. I might be way off here, but I have been talking about, writing about, thinking about how we get to these places in life and then we have choices. We have the choice. The invitation that comes on the other side of the mirror to me in the mornings is, who are you going to be in this? What are you going to do with this? Are you going to sit in this and let it happen to you? Or are you going to somehow, no matter how sad and horrible and terrible you feel today, kind of rewrite it?
Absolutely. We have to rewrite it, right? We're rewriting every single day. We get to decide whether or not I'm going to trust myself on this process. If I don't trust myself in the process of moving forward every day, who am I supposed to trust?
Well, and that's been a beautiful learning for me because I leaned into the trust of a marriage. I leaned into James always had my back. I could trust
Yes.
James. I didn't have to depend so heavily on myself or on my friendships. But I have to say, 5 years later, and I don't mean this in an egotistical way at all, but I'm really proud of how I trust myself. I'm proud of where I've learned to do that. Not that it's been easy, it hasn't, but it's really a beautiful learning. It's a beautiful process.
Absolutely.
If we take
and
the
I think we
invitation.
get stuck in the idea of when you just said about I don't want to be egotistical, right? We have been taught that we can't think highly of ourselves. And that's part of the problem, right? If I think that I should trust myself, then I'm not trusting something else. I'm not trusting God, or I'm not trusting something better than myself. And that I'm thinking I'm so bad, I'm the best. But trusting yourself just means that I know I'm going to find a way. And if that means I'm trusting in myself and God, that's absolutely falls in line with that. It just means that I'm not allowing somebody else to be the reason why I make my decisions constantly, because that person is going to fail us. We're humans. We are going to fail each other. And
Well-
that's the sad, hard part of it. If I trust myself to know what I can get out of, or what I can offer, or what I can put into something and follow through with it, then I can continue on in a different way. I don't have to make it about somebody else.
We're almost out of time, but I absolutely love this topic of trust. We didn't explore the boundary part so much, but this topic of self-trust, I hope we can come back to at another time and explore a little bit more, because I think it's so powerful for the way that we live our lives, rewrite our stories, all of that. So thank you again for being with us today. Always a delight, and I learn something every single time. And
I'm so happy to be here and talk about this.
yeah, and thank you all for joining us. It's been delightful to have Sheri with us once again, and we'll see you again next Monday.